me on.
So, Anthony, you have a very extensive bio and a lot of experience being a CEO. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the companies you've worked with in the past?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on, Elijah. And I've been a founder CEO my whole career. So it's been about over 20 years now of starting, founding and co-founding businesses in software and the telecommunications industry. I've been a founder CEO on four occasions. This is my fifth effort as a founder CEO. Over the last 20 years, I've raised over $2 billion in capital for my ventures and had a number of successful exits, five successful exits, in fact. My largest and most recent exit was $1.3 billion for a company I started in 2008 that I sold in 2015 to a regional cable operator called Shaw Communications. I started a business called Wind Mobile. It was a wireless carrier that got great traction, and we had a great exit in that business. I've been a founder CEO my whole career, and blockchain and AI are now my full-time focus, as I think there's a really good moment to bring those technologies into the business and consumer marketplaces as aggressively as possible.
All right. Well, Global Live is an initiative to commercialize artificial intelligence and blockchain software. So this is very interesting. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the artificial intelligence and blockchain software and how they relate to each other, because that might not be immediately obvious to most people out there.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, as everyone can see at this point, Elijah, there's going to be some significant disruption of traditional businesses, as well as the creation of totally new markets and businesses as artificial intelligence and blockchain technology gets rolled out across our economy and across our society, in fact, because I think it does transcend not just the corporate landscape, but all of the not-for-profit and government sectors that are part of our society as well. So, and academia for that matter. So, there's really these waves of disruption are coming, and I've had a long history as a founder, CEO of starting and building and commercializing new software, going all the way back to the start of the web. My first business was making websites back in the late '90s, and so just I've seen these waves. That the software as a service wave come, and we were participants in that over the last 10 years. In the last 5 years, artificial intelligence and machine learning, really those technologies maturing. And of course, in the last couple of years, blockchain technology now entering the marketplace. And we've been participating the whole way along and commercializing software the whole way along. And what I have decided and why I created Global Live Technology and why we're getting out there quickly now with AI and blockchain together is it's become really clear at this point that artificial intelligence really works provided the underlying data set, like the information going into the algorithms, really is complete and accurate. And that leads the AI to produce better results for businesses and consumers. And so that's where blockchain comes in, and how they work together in in the technology constructs we're building, the software we're building. They work together as blockchain provides that immutable, traceable, distributed ledger where you've got it's correct, complete data sets that then get input into AI algorithms that we're building, and our AI then can outperform the status quo in machine learning, which is still very early days, but in the marketplace that's already out there. We're able to get much further ahead, much faster by using those data sets built on blockchain infrastructure. That's how they work together, and we're doing that across a number of industries. We're doing it in financial services, agriculture, healthcare, manufacturing. Everywhere you look, you want to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to build better business models and get better business outcomes, whether it's cost savings or new revenues. But all of those algorithms only work well if you've got those complete and accurate underlying data sets, and that's where blockchain enters.
Definitely. And what is your perspective on how the sentiment right now in the blockchain sphere has been impacting your company, and how you plan to move through? Obviously, there's been a lot of negative sentiment. How do you plan to combat that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable to see, the swings in this sector, just incredible volatility in the price of cryptocurrencies, which it's not the first time. This is the first time it's happened where there was pretty wide scale adoption of cryptocurrencies, but this is the seventh or even eighth time that we've seen a significant move downward in the price of cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, of course, being the largest still today. In my view, firstly, I don't think that it makes any sense for the market to confuse or conflate cryptocurrency with blockchain technology and blockchain infrastructure. So there's a whole lot of companies, including mine, that are being adversely affected from a value standpoint because there's that perception out there, and it's not at all a correct perception, but it is a perception that's out there, that blockchain and cryptocurrencies are synonymous. I mean, that could not be more inaccurate. As you know, all cryptocurrencies is an application on the blockchain technology. So it's an implementation of blockchain. It's one use, if you will, one use case of blockchain is cryptocurrencies. But blockchain technology is just vastly more broad than cryptocurrencies. And the way I try to explain it to people, which, people go, whoa, I didn't really get that before, is I would say, look, you have to look at it as blockchain is like your iOS or your Android or your Microsoft operating system. And all cryptocurrency is one of your apps that you're using on that operating system. I mean, that's the best way for consumers to grasp it and investors to grasp it. But people are always like, whoa, I can't believe that. Now, sometimes people don't even believe me, actually, until they start reading about it themselves and be like, and get that. But that is where the blockchain companies, including mine, are being adversely affected from a value standpoint because of that confusion around cryptocurrencies. And then separately, look, I think cryptocurrencies, as I've always said, there is a need for diversification away from fiat. There's a need for these opportunities around coin ecosystems to reduce friction in coin in a given supply chain or a given economic ecosystem. There's really opportunities to use leverage cryptocurrencies, and so I do think they have a long-term place. I think that this volatility we're seeing will be largely mitigated when, not if, but when, because I'm certainly in this camp, when regulators come in to this in a meaningful way and really create a framework that can bring stability to the marketplace. I mean, and it's starting to happen, and we're going to see that in the next wave. And I don't know if we saw a bottom in Bitcoin at around 6,000. It's back up now, as you know, closer to 8,000. I don't know if we've seen a bottom in it, but what we certainly will see, I think, is price stability in cryptocurrencies when there's regulation. And then all those ICOs and cryptocurrencies that never made any sense to begin with, they're all going to get flushed out, in my view. And very similar to the wave of .com. Back in the day, you could create a company and put .com behind its name, and you got a big valuation and you got a big financing done. That's what happened, unfortunately, in the ICO market, and a lot of retail investors are feeling that pain now. But I think long term, the picture is quite bright. If you can ride out this rough patch, I think it's the only way to do it is you got to look long on these things. And in my view, there's a core place in our society for blockchain long term, and it's going to be the fabric of how business is conducted long term. But that's long term. So if you're looking for short term gains, it's probably not the right investment for you.
No, when it comes to combining blockchain with artificial intelligence, is this a unique idea?
I think we are going to be the first in market because of our go-to-market strategy, where I described earlier that we're partnering with truly a 50-50 partnership with a significant business that already has a big customer base, and then they're totally motivated and alongside us to commercialize our AI and blockchain software. So in financial services, we have announced a partnership with Flexity Financial. They're a very successful large fintech. They've got over 1 million customers on their platform. we're going to commercialize AI and blockchain into those million customers. And so, for sure, there are big players entering. I mean, IBM has got a combination of their blockchain infrastructure solutions and the Watson artificial intelligence machine learning platform. So they're going to be combining those things. Microsoft certainly is going to be combining these things. Google is certainly going to be combining them, in my view. So there's going to be a wave coming where everyone, I think, recognizes that machine learning, artificial intelligence works the best and is most effective when it has a complete data set, and blockchain, and not just complete but accurate data set, and blockchain has the promise with that distributed architecture and the consensus model on decision making, and to really give the quality data that can really accelerate machine learning algorithms.
Now, when it comes to getting back to, blockchain technologies, there's a lot of similarities I've heard between the start of the internet and what we're seeing right now with blockchain. Where do you think we are in the process? Are we still very early?
Yeah, I think we're extremely early days. And I would draw the analogy to now, it's early days, but there's great buying opportunities still in the marketplace. Like if you look at our company, Global Life Technology, I mean, I think we're tremendously undervalued. I'm personally very publicly saying I'm buying the stock. I'm buying the stock every day because and I am doing that because we're into deep value territory because there's this conflation of blockchain and cryptocurrencies that doesn't really make any sense. But again, it's not just us. All the blockchain infrastructure companies are being adversely affected from a value standpoint because of cryptocurrency. That all said, I think it's early days, and what we really got to focus on is the long term as investors, including my perspective as an investor, as well as being a founder CEO. When you think about the internet and draw the same analogy, I would say it was in the early 90s where there was a big debate about whether it's going to be HTTP or some other protocol that the World Wide Web operates on, and there was lots of competing initiatives from various standards organizations and associations and special interest groups and all the and the developer community, all sorts of different initiatives underway. In the end, HTTP became the standard, and now we all just it's sort of ubiquitous. It's HTTP : / whatever web address. I mean, that just became that. We're still figuring out what's going to be the standard protocol for blockchain infrastructure in different industries. So is it going to be Ethereum? Is it going to be EOS? Is it going to be Wave? I mean, pick your flavor. And so one of the things we're doing, and it's not clear at this point, what's going to be the standard in which industry. And so that's just to me a really big reason to stay protocol agnostic and just get solutions in the marketplace using AI and blockchain that show businesses real cost savings and show our customers real new revenue opportunities, and do it. It may not be transformational out the gate, but there's enough basis there for us to make some significant improvements. And I can give you one example with Flexity Financial, the fintech I referred to earlier, that it's got over 1 million customers on the platform. We're using AI and blockchain to take all of the historical data they have from all the loans they've issued to those 1 million different consumers and better adjudicate loans going forward. So the machine learning algorithms, the AI uses that historical data that ultimately will be remunerated on a blockchain to be ensure completeness and accuracy, as well as anonymity and privacy considerations for consumers. We're going to use that data set, plug it into our machine learning algorithms, and better predict the outcome of loans, and thereby lower the bad debt of the fintech, and thereby improve its operating margins. And that's a pretty narrow, very specific. It's not an easy problem to solve. I could say that, but it's a pretty specific use case that the existing state of technologies, with AI and blockchain, can can be commercialized successfully. I draw the analogy to people when people say that, the early Netflix couldn't really take off until there was very high-speed internet, a very high throughput to people's homes that was ubiquitous. Until then, Netflix, as you know, was they were shipping DVDs around because you couldn't reliably stream content. So it would make no sense, in my view, to try and get ahead of ourselves here. We got to just recognize where the state of the technology is today, and we got to get out in the marketplace with stuff that's working, showing real value to businesses, and build our customer base that way. And that's what we're doing.
Now, you said how this is really a long-term investment, and you think is going to be very successful in the long term. Where do you see your company in 5 years?
Yeah, I think that I'm confident we're going to emerge as a leader in the commercialization of artificial intelligence, machine learning technologies, and blockchain infrastructure to the business market. So small to medium-sized businesses that we can really have a very transformational impact on. I think we're going to emerge as a real leader in that area. We're going to have products that are software that can be quickly deployed in a mid-sized company. That'll be software that reduces operating costs by improving workflows. And that Flexity example that I just gave would be one, but also identifies new revenue opportunities by helping businesses upsell. So in the context of that Flexity financial example I already gave, one of the things we're doing there is helping the merchants that are our customers sell more product. Upsell their customers. And so use the AI to make better recommendations. It's happening already in the marketplace in many ways when you see the recommendation engines on Amazon or the recommendation engine on Netflix, where it comes up and says, hey, because you like this, you probably will like this too. Because you bought this on that, you probably like this too. Well, that's using machine learning, and those companies, Netflix and Amazon, in those examples, they have the data set, but small to mid-sized companies don't have the same data set. They don't have the same amount of information, just sheer volume of information that they can use to plug into the algorithm. So we're bringing that expertise to the table to help them build those data sets and help them really compete with the big guys in their respective businesses. And so I think we're going to emerge a leader there. I think IBM, is already there. They're already focused on the large enterprise and commercializing these technologies. But we can move faster. We're faster. We're more nimble. We're able to get stuff out in the marketplace much more quickly than some of our larger competitors.
Definitely. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today.